Hi, Maria Mandarino here, and today we're going to be talking to Rebecca Ong, who is an Enneagram 8. So this episode is for you, particularly if you are a female entrepreneur, and you have been told that you are too direct, too much, too bossy, or too controlling, or too intimidating. Welcome, Rebecca. I'm
Wow, that
just,
was an intro.
well, an intro worthy of an Enneagram 8.
Okay.
Um, so Rebecca is the CEO of TCM Hub and the coach for Chinese medicine physicians. She has helped entrepreneurial Chinese medicine physicians make their lives better by improving their time management, courage, and money relationship skills through her free and easy doctor coaching program. And she's also the creator and host of the podcast Better Skills, Better Doctors. And she is also my business coach. So thank you for um, for being willing to be on the channel and share your experiences as an eight. I know you're brand new to the Enneagram, and when we talked about it, you took the test, and that's where you landed with the test in the eight. So first, tell me about yourself. Tell me a little more about what you do and why you do it. We'll
Okay.
start there.
Well, I mean, that was a pretty good intro. Yes, CEO of TCM Hub. I am a licensed acupuncturist as well. Um, Practiced for about 12, 13 years in Boston and pivoted to going from patient focused care to now practitioner focused care. Uh, as part of TCM Hub and my coaching, we also teach Harmonize,
Mhm.
and Harmonize is it's really a business training for herbal medicine, sorry, Chinese medicine herbalists.
Mhm.
So, so you can always check that out
Yeah,
if you're a Chinese medicine
yeah,
person
yeah,
watching this.
yeah.
And as far as, actually, it was really funny the way that you just kind of described the eight.
Mhm.
I was almost going to jump in and joke and was just like, I heard all those yesterday. You know what I mean? But even as a little kid, one of my nicknames was like Big Butt Boss because I was really small and I was in like so small that my diaper looked enormous on me and I was very bossy. So this thread apparently
It's been following you.
it has been following me. Yes. So
How does it feel to be seen that way?
as bossy or as,
Well, yeah, any of those umbrella terms.
and on one hand, it's funny. On the other
Uh-huh,
hand, it's kind of like, well, I'll tell you a funny story actually. When I first met Michael,
uh-huh,
um, I was taking one of his classes and we were all out to lunch. He had never met me before,
uh-huh.
and we were just
Michael's your
chatting.
husband, for those that don't know.
Yes. Well,
Yes.
yes, for all intents and
Now.
purposes, and my business partner, and
Yes.
yes. So, Michael Peluso. So
Uh-huh.
he, we were at lunch and he looked at me and he was like, "You look like you could be mean." And I was like, okay. And when people say that, I'm like, on one hand, I can understand where they mean. On the other hand, I don't like it,
Uh-huh.
because it makes me kind of misunderstood
Mm,
in a way.
mhm.
Which he even said, kind of later as he got to know me, he's like, you have this I know people don't like the term, but like a little bit of like an RBF, like um resting bitch face. Um, which is true.
Uh-huh.
But he's like, and you just kind of seem like a little hard and edgy and whatnot. But he's like, as you get to know you, you're actually quite sweet.
Yeah,
And so I guess that's, to answer your question, it's
yeah,
when I hear it, it's like I get it, but I don't always like it
yeah,
because I think it keeps people, it kind of like repels people a little bit.
yeah, yeah. That's one of the challenges with the eight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you tested as an eight wing seven, which is the seven's the enthusiast, the eight's the challenger,
Okay.
or the leader. We have a few different names, and we also call the eight the boss. The low eight we call the destroyer. So but I usually land on the leader or the challenger, and then the enthusiast is the seven. So So well, first of all, you're a body type as an eight. I don't know if you got to look at any of that
You'll have to
as
kind
far
of
as,
go through
so
that for me.
there's body types, head types, and heart types in the Enneagram,
Okay.
and the eight, the nine, and the one land in the body type. So their experience is more about the physical body. They're called gut types. And you are, a little bit that I know from you and see on your Facebook page and such, you're very into fitness. I want you to talk about that if you would. And you're an athlete um, all your life, I believe, right? Since
Mhm.
childhood, yeah. Um, so um, so yeah, talk about that a little bit because I think your seven wing comes up in that too.
So being an
So,
athlete, I mean,
oh,
I grew up as a gymnast.
uh-huh.
Um, there's a not a very long shelf life to be a gymnast.
Yeah,
So I did
yeah,
that until I was about 18 or 19.
uh-huh.
Um, so that was always kind of a part of my life. But liking sports, both watching it and playing them,
Hmm.
always being somewhat athletic. Growing up as like a little bit of a tomboy, riding bikes, playing
Hmm.
whatever sports, wanting to
Hmm.
like join in with like my brother
Oh, you froze.
years younger. Oh,
There you are. There you are. You're
there you go.
back. Okay.
Yeah, I was also like 5 years younger, so I
Uh-huh.
was like, they're kind of shooing me away.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's always been a part of my life. I actually have my undergrad in exercise science.
Uh-huh.
I used to think I thought I wanted to be a physical therapist
Uh-huh.
as a career,
Yeah.
and but obviously that didn't happen. But I
Hmm.
always knew I wanted to be somewhere in healthcare.
Yeah.
And so I think it was that kind of connection between the athleticism, the body in motion,
Hmm.
and then trying to tie my career to it.
Yeah.
So, and if it was like at all involved in sports, that
Hmm.
was would be even greater, but
Hmm.
um, not totally necessary. But that I always found like athletes and bodies in motion to be the most interesting.
Hmm. Okay.
And and then yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like a fitness enthusiast. I'm not someone who will, well, like
You're
meaning
quite the
I'm not going to do
weightlifter.
like ultra marathons.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I kind of do things where I do push myself
Uh-huh.
and I like to push myself hard
Yeah.
physically,
Yeah.
but I'm not um pathological about it.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I mean, I'm sure you've seen them too, treating runners, for example.
Hmm. Hmm.
Runners, if you try
Yeah.
to tell a runner to
To
like
stop, they can't.
rest,
Yeah.
that ain't
Yeah.
happening. I'm not
Yeah.
like that. Like I
Yeah.
listen to my
Uh-huh.
body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I get the sense that your fitness for you is there's also a real appreciation of your body and just,
Yeah.
the weightlifting and you just enjoy, I think, body-based things. What was it? Was it last week or the week before? You posted something I don't know what cliff you were jumping off of into water, but
Oh,
that just looked like something that this Enneagram 5 would not be doing. So,
yeah, I mean that kind of thing, like I was jumping off um it's like a known jump spot at this lake that's near us.
uh-huh.
Um and that was pretty high up. That was
Yeah,
like a
looked
lot of
it.
that was a lot of hang time. I've not experienced that in a while. But little thrills like that, I snowboard as
Uh-huh.
well. I'm
Uh-huh.
not nearly as reckless as I used to be by any
Yeah.
means. So but again, I like to push myself.
Yeah.
I like to be a little scared
Ah, what does that
and
do for you?
then do it anyway. Um in a way it's like a sense of accomplishment. In another
Mm.
sense it's like there's like I like the challenge,
Okay,
right? I
good.
like to face something that looks impossible
Hmm.
or difficult or whatnot and then prove it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. So eights do that apart from athleticism. Eights will do that in their relationships.
Mhm.
Um, and eights like people that they're in relationship with, and not just intimate relationship, just any relationship, they like people to step in. So the eight's the challenger, right? But they also like the person to step in and challenge them.
Mhm.
So does that resonate for you?
Yeah. It's a little bit of my because I'm divorced, so my
Uh-huh.
my ex-husband, that was one of the things where it was like he was a very tended to be a little bit more passive,
Uh-huh.
um like a keep the peace kind of
Yeah.
person.
Uh-huh.
And like so then there wasn't a lot of challenging, and
Hmm.
on so we didn't fight. We hardly fought at all.
Uh-huh.
I like we used to say like we didn't fight, and we thought that was actually a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it really kind of turns out we were just really avoidant.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Hmm.
you get two avoidants together. It's
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
there was that was something that for me, I was like, I do need to be challenged. There's you can't keep saying yes to me for everything because
Hmm.
I don't actually have all the answers all the time.
Hmm.
So yeah.
So what does that do to you when somebody doesn't challenge you and you don't have the ant? Like what comes up? How do you feel?
Someone doesn't challenge me
Yeah.
in general or like in a situation or
Well, just in a situation where you feel like you wish they would. You wish they would step in and they don't.
I guess it's so funny. I'm like, right now, my head is going between like the current me and like kind of
Uh-huh.
the former
Yeah.
me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can say that maybe there are some times where maybe I'll stir up some shit.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah. Well,
no,
I'm
I wouldn't
frozen.
say that I'm like a
Yeah.
troublemaker like that. I don't
Uh-huh.
try to like create problems,
Right.
but maybe I can see that being something like subconsciously, I might do
Uh-huh.
something to kind of create a little,
To get them
like,
to
let's
be
go. Yeah,
engaged.
let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Okay. Yep. That's pretty eight-ish. Okay. So I'm going to throw breadcrumbs out as we go. We're going to kind of go back and forth with the conversation. But so I mentioned the eight with the wing seven, the enthusiast, the person that likes to have fun, the person that would rather do the fun things than do the painful thing, like the emotionally painful things. Um, so that's the seven reflection in there with your eight. But you have access to the five line, the straight lines in the Enneagram. When the eight is stressed, they're going to look like kind of a dysfunctional five. So the five's the observer. Um, my experience in working with eights is they will look a little moody, a little sullen, and they go into like the darker side of the observer where they
hmm,
disengage. Um, and when they're not stressed and they want to attain a goal, they start to look like an Enneagram 2, which is the giver or the helper. And they'll typically go to the higher side. Now, when I work with people, I take people in and out of the higher and the lower of either of them. I don't pigeonhole it quite so, with such an absolute. But just so you know that that's in there and it may come into the conversation. Um, so, um, I'm going to start here because I had a few questions. The classics say, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't know the exact phrase, the Chinese classics. To needle, you must be brave.
to
And
what?
eight, to needle, you must be brave.
Okay.
And eight is the type that we associate with bravery. And to clarify that for anyone listening, there are nine ways to be brave. So it's not each of the nine types are not brave in some way. But we tend to think of the eight as being the most brave on the Enneagram. So why you mentioned physical therapy? Why acupuncture and Chinese medicine? Why the needle?
Funny enough, I didn't really know anything about Chinese medicine really when I applied for Chinese medicine school. Um, so I'll give the abbreviated version. So I was in undergrad. was intended to go to PT school, but by the time, so this was like, I graduated from college, undergrad in 1999. And so by that point, between like 1995 to 99, like the PT field went from like the next like new hot field to like totally oversaturated, like
Yeah.
and really quick.
Yeah.
And um, at that point, I kind of was reconsidering it because of
Mhm.
that.
Mm.
I knew some people that were kind of getting out of the field. It wasn't
Mm.
really what they
Yeah.
expected it to be. It was getting to be a little, yeah, really competitive in terms of,
Yeah.
you take all this schooling and then it was, I mean, now, I mean, I don't think you have a hard time finding a PT job, but you are, because of this popularity of this profession, they just kept adding on degrees. Now it's like a
Yeah.
doctorate
Right. Yeah.
and a doctorate that's very expensive
Hmm.
doctorate,
Yeah.
but it doesn't necessarily like pay you
Hmm.
anymore.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so I kind of was starting to pull back on that idea of PT school. I went into the fitness industry right after school, knew that wasn't going to be the long game.
Yeah.
I had I'm come from a family of nurses, and so I worked as a nurse's aide
Hmm.
in this time as well to kind of like test out that environment. Didn't
Uh-huh.
want to do that.
Hmm.
Um, Thought about med school, did not want to be an MD.
Hmm.
That was like that was like a short thing. I did not want to be an MD. But I knew I wanted to be in healthcare. And
Yeah.
so in this time I kind of went in weird directions or different directions. I actually went into sales. I was a recruiter for a staffing agency for a few years. Hated that job so much. Hated it.
What
And
about it did you hate?
um gosh, it was there was a lot of pressure. Um there was a lot of like meaning you had to produce certain numbers and then stand in front of, your management the end of the week to like produce your numbers and defend why or why not you
Hmm.
didn't hit your goals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, just it was very much it felt like kind of it might have been also, what I was recruiting, but it was a little bit more of like a kind of a churn and burn
Hmm.
kind of I didn't like it. I don't think I was even ready for it though
Okay.
either. It is a very uh I mean it's sales. It's
Did,
sales.
did you
And
feel like you had no control?
I felt like I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, well,
Yeah. That was really it because it was
okay.
like very little training.
Uh-huh.
They just kind of throw you in there
Yeah.
and um you just try to learn from the people around you and
Hmm.
you just make a lot of phone calls, do a lot of cold calling, which I hated.
Hmm.
Um, there's something about, yeah, when you're cold calling, y- y- it's cold calling.
You're
Nobody's expecting
vulnerable.
you
Yep.
and they just want to hang up on you. You're
Yeah.
basically like you're treated like a telemarketer.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot of connection happening in there
Uh-huh.
either. It was
Uh-huh.
just maybe at the time because I was in my early 20s.
Hmm.
Still also I didn't take it so seriously
Uh-huh.
because I was still like
Yeah.
trying to kind of have fun in my
Yeah.
20s.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, so I said it was supposed to be a long story short, but it's not. And so after doing that, I hated it, quit, went into the restaurant industry because I was just like, I'm just gonna work in restaurants, make some
Uh-huh.
money, live my 20s,
Uh-huh.
figure out what I'm gonna do. In that time, I was like revisiting the PT thought, and I stumbled on acupuncture because there was a article in Newsweek that came out, and their featured article for that edition was on NISA, the New England School of Acupuncture.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
I was reading it, I was like, this is interesting.
Huh.
And NISA was just like 20 minutes away from
Huh.
where I lived.
Wow.
Um, and I was just like, what? Okay, this is
Huh.
something. And they were having an open house coming up. So I went to it
Hmm.
and I was like, okay. I interviewed, with the president after I applied. And I was like, I think like this is very cool. I didn't know anything about it, but I was like, it's still healthcare. It's not a hospital.
Hmm.
And um and I think I can see myself doing this. And so when I started school, I started it part-time
Hmm.
and did when they used to do that and did the like TCM theory class
Hmm.
that first year course.
Uh-huh.
And the more I learned about the Chinese medicine lens, the more I was like, okay, this really does like make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
And I found it to be a lens. I was really attracted to the, I guess in a way, like the countercultureness of it.
Uh-huh.
Um, it was another lens to how to view the body, treat the body. It was a lot more considerate, if
Hmm.
anything, and I liked that it was the approach was not just masking symptoms, but
Hmm.
actually resolving
Right.
patterns.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that was that.
Yeah. Do you remember the first class when you needled?
Kind of. I think so.
What was
Yeah.
it like? Do you
I didn't find it to be a big deal.
remember?
I really didn't.
Yeah.
I, in a way, like, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember it exactly, but I'm pretty sure, like, we all did stomach 36 on ourselves, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I was just like, whatever, go. That was
Okay.
it. Like, that was
Yeah.
like, because it's just that, and that's kind of how I am,
Yeah.
like, with anything.
Right.
Um, well, I'll just
Yeah.
kind of look at it and be like, all right, go.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
I jumped off that cliff. That was exactly what I did.
Yeah.
I just like took a quick breath and I was like, go.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
So you mentioned Boston, and I know now you live out in the countryside in New England.
mhm.
How did that happen? And where can you speak to your eight nature in that decision?
Well, a lot of it had to do with, um, I talk about this. There's an episode of my podcast about this, but I talk about how I kind of got to here,
Hmm.
and my it was 28, wait, early 2018. My
Okay.
sister uh went for like a routine procedure, and she ended up in septic shock,
Mm,
and so she almost died, and
mm,
it was like really touch and go for like a week or two, and then she
mm,
was in the hospital for like months. But
mm,
and so in that time, it wasn't like like bolt of lightning, but in that
mhm,
time, I was also on this kind of like upward trajectory in terms of my own growth, my
mhm,
business,
mhm,
um, kind of feeling like the most comfortable I've ever felt in my
mhm,
own skin.
mm.
Like really felt like I was kind of coming into my own.
Yeah.
And this was
Yeah.
like about 40, 41 years old.
Uh-huh.
And there was something like kind of as that, my sister got sick in the spring, and as like it kind of, I was just seeing life very differently.
Mm,
Um, Seeing it in a different lens. I couldn't quite articulate it at the time, but like everything that I was living, everything that I was working for, building the business for,
mm,
how I was living my life felt very purposeless,
mm,
and just like really no connection. And this
mm,
is also including like with my marriage and like everything.
mhm,
Everything just was not fitting anymore.
mm,
And I even just living in the city, because I lived in the city
mhm.
for like right in the city for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just this, and I always call it like my unraveling.
Mhm,
And it was this massive shift from like what felt like what I described as for myself, like a very superficial life. Like I,
mhm,
I actually describe it as like asleep at the wheel,
mm,
to then being awake. And
mm,
then like once you kind of awaken, you can't see things the same ever again.
mhm, mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, I mean, I got real tired of the city.
Mm,
Um, the the last straw was because I used to walk from my apartment to my office,
mhm,
and I used to take my dog, Larry, with
Mhm.
me. And there was one day where I was walking home and a homeless guy threw a water bottle at him
Ooh.
and didn't hit
Whoa.
him, but threw it at him. And he's just like this little puppy. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's fucking it. Like, I was just like, I am done. Like, that was
Yeah.
it. Like, that
Yeah.
was it. So,
Yep.
um,
Yep.
since then, I have been, I think living in the country it's slower. It's you, I always tell people this till I live in Vermont. To live in Vermont, you really do have to be very content.
Mm,
And
mm,
there is a maybe a forced contentment, but also that's like where I want to be.
right.
Um, a lot of gratitude for like the little things
Hmm.
is what I really like. It's like
Yeah.
before it was like I could go, I had my pick of whatever restaurant, I could get sushi
Uh-huh.
delivered. I could, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
matter. Like we don't
Yeah.
have Uber here. We don't
Right.
have like, oh, forget it, sushi, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
those are saved for when I go visit family down
Uh-huh.
in Massachusetts again,
Yeah.
when it's like civilization, right? And but it makes me appreciate it even more.
Okay.
And there's a beauty. I mean, like
Yeah.
I have, you know, pictures of like my deck, like off my
Yeah.
deck
Yeah.
and the view that we have. And um it's just a much more like rich and fulfilling life.
Yeah. What does that do for your eight? For that,
I think it makes me a little softer.
oh,
Um, it kind of, if eight is someone that is someone that can like easily get sucked into like really going all the
hmm.
time,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, it's like kind of living here can kind of tamp that down a little bit.
Yeah. Nice.
Although,
Nice.
I'm not, I'm not going to go ahead and say it's the environment that makes me do that, but it
Hmm.
certainly like fosters
Yeah.
the ability to just kind of like slow
Makes it
down and
easier. Yeah.
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 And also like because I schedule my weeks
Uh-huh.
as like the
Uh-huh.
conscious planning tool
Uh-huh. Yeah.
that that I've showed you.
Hmm.
So I schedule my weeks out and if I want to enjoy this area that I live in, then I make sure that I have that time scheduled
Yeah.
out
To do it.
to
Yeah.
appreciate, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like this very organized schedule,
Mm.
like personality
Uh-huh.
is
Uh-huh.
what is also makes it capable for me to uh have the time, like create the time
Hmm.
that I want to just rest, to go blueberry picking, to go
Hmm.
snowboarding, to go,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also do all my accomplishments for
Nice.
the business and for coaching.
Nice. Okay. And you don't practice anymore, right? Acupuncture? Or do
Mm-mm,
you
not
kind
right now,
of,
no.
okay. Okay. So, and
Not
then,
completely out of the question, but right now
okay.
we're 100%
Okay.
TCM hub
Okay.
right now.
You've
And
got a lot going on.
yeah,
So with coaching and harmonize and so how did that come up? Like, where did that in this evolution from Boston, did that come after the Boston? It must have come after the Boston
yeah,
piece. Okay.
yeah. So
So,
I moved out of Boston. It was like August of 2019.
uh-huh.
And I moved to upstate New York. And I moved in with Michael because that's where he
Uh-huh.
was living up in like the Finger Lakes region. And that's like the whole plan was for me to just um do nothing, just
Uh-huh.
kind of relax.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, oops, I think we're like kind of freezing a
Yeah,
little
you
bit.
froze a
Okay,
little. There you
here
are.
we go.
Okay.
Okay,
Hmm.
better. All right. Yeah, the whole plan was for me to because I had savings and whatnot, and so the whole plan was for me to just like chill out, do nothing,
Hmm.
regroup,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and then figure it out. And then early 2020 came, and then there was like the
Hmm.
pandemic,
Mm.
and so I was like, well, I'm not gonna like start a new practice
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And I didn't necessarily know even if like that area, like, upstate New
Hmm.
York was where I was really going to land. So it's like
Right.
to open a practice and like really put down roots. It was like,
Yeah. Hmm.
and I kind of thought about it too. My reason for doing that was because I didn't know what else to do. And for me, I have a very strong, I feel very strongly about practicing medicine uh, only when you're like fully in
Hmm. Yep.
and not practicing because I need money. I
Right.
need to like have a career. I don't know
Hmm.
what else to do.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and so I also just didn't feel comfortable practicing medicine when I was in that space where
Right.
it wasn't because at this point I wanted to practice. It was
Right.
because I didn't know what else to do.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
um, so I thought about what else I could do.
Hmm.
And one of the one of the things that I can't remember where I heard it, but someone said if you're ever like kind of stuck in what to do next, or
Hmm.
if you wanted to even like start something on the side, um, just kind of evaluate and see what is it about, what is it that people will ask your advice about a lot that has nothing to do with like medicine or nothing to do. And for me, something that people asked me and something I was really good at was basic financial
Hmm.
literacy
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
financial management, just not like financial advisor, just like
Hmm.
how to set a budget, how to
Hmm.
pay down debt, how to, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I had spent a good 4.5 years with my husband paying off all of our debt. We paid off like $142,000.
Wow.
So, so I was like, and I always kept I kept a spending plan and
Hmm.
I take care of my money and
Hmm.
in return, it takes care of me. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so I was like looking, and especially during pandemic, and I'm looking at Facebook and people are
Mm.
really worried
Yeah.
because they're like, I
Yeah.
don't know what to do for a living. I don't know what to do with money. And,
Hmm.
I saw some stuff that like people were like, we 2 weeks into the pandemic, when people had to close their clinics and they're like, my license is up for renewal and I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. I'm
Mm.
like a $200 license, you can't
Yeah.
cover that right
Yeah.
now. Like, oh
Yeah.
boy. And so
Yeah.
I was like I was like, people
Yeah.
need
Hmm.
this. So that's where I got into like, I pivoted into uh like kind of coaching, mentoring, teaching.
Hmm. Was that a
Um,
hard decision for you? It was just like, is it that gut instinct of the eight? What was that? Because it's a pretty big turn.
I mean, there was a lot of, all the stuff. I was like, like imposter syndrome,
Hmm.
like, the fear.
Yeah.
Like I'd never
Yeah.
done this before. I'd never taught like that before. I taught
Right.
aerobics. I taught
Yeah.
aerobics when I was in college. Like, I taught
Uh-huh.
gymnastics to little kids. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'd never taught like
Right.
a class, a course, anything to like other professionals. So yeah, there was a lot of doubt and it was a little scary.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but I was also like, well, let's try it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
I may as
Yeah.
well, build
Yeah.
this thing and try it. And so that was my first foray. It was called Dollars and Cents.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I remember.
And
Yeah.
now it's still actually a part of my current coaching program,
Uh-huh.
as like one of the pillars, but,
Yeah.
so it still exists,
Yeah.
but it not on its own. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Um, so what else do I have here? Um, and then so from there, how did Harmonize and the business coaching happen?
So harmonize. So which one do I want to start with? So harmonize was really, like TCM Hub was started by, I wasn't originally a founder.
Uh-huh.
I came on later.
Okay.
And so, TCM Hub kind of started out as like a CEU company.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it was really launched at the perfect time. It was around the pandemic when
Hmm.
everybody was kind of stuck at home and
Right.
we were like, I may as well take some CEU. So
Uh-huh.
we had that was what TCM Hub was at first.
Mhm.
You know, bringing in other instructors, they would teach classes, we'd offer CEUs, um, and it pivoted into. By the way, like that is a tough business.
Mhm.
Like if you look at like
Mhm.
eLotus and Lisa Martin,
Mhm.
and they're
Mhm.
like cranking out, like
Yeah.
it really is. It's tough because every month you gotta
Yeah.
you gotta start over again and be like,
Mhm.
okay, we gotta sell something
Yep.
this month,
Yeah.
to like make our numbers and
Yeah.
like yeah. So,
Mhm.
it was a little stressful in that sense, but as I joined on and as that was becoming more and more exhausting in a way,
Mhm.
um, we were actually, and we also made well, me, I'm not a founder, but the decision was made that TCM Hub is only herbal medicine training.
Mhm.
So as we had like gone through um those first couple of years and like kind of just seeing what most people are struggling with,
Mhm.
we realized that, there was a definite need
Mhm.
for not just the practice of herbal medicine. We were noticing that a lot of people they would, well, I mean, because we learn from school, we learn from these books that are
Right.
like where people were literally starving in
Mhm.
China,
Right.
like,
Yeah. Right.
and that's not a modern patient anymore.
Right.
But so a lot of people were
Yeah.
really overusing uh supplementing formulas and things
Mhm.
like that when
Yeah.
that is not the population.
Right.
And so what we were seeing was a lot of people basically diagnosing improperly,
Mhm.
therefore giving the wrong
Giving the wrong
formulas. And
herbs.
of course,
Yeah.
like, and so patients
Mhm.
don't get better. They're not
Right.
seeing results.
Mhm.
Practitioners are just kind of thinking that like herbal medicine doesn't work. I've never
Right.
seen it work.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and they're afraid of like liability and all this stuff,
Mhm.
let alone also they don't know how to implement it into their practices,
Mhm.
from a business perspective.
Yeah.
It was kind of like always like thrown on as an add-on,
Mhm.
um, at the end. And of course, so like compliance was never good. So a lot of people, we're
Mhm.
just seeing a lot of people just not practicing herbal medicine. They just,
Right.
because
Yeah.
they just gave up on it,
Yeah.
basically. It just
Yeah.
wasn't working.
Yeah.
So we saw this need created, harmonized from it. It was like a way to go not only to um, diagnose, but also to implement it into your business and make money.
Mhm.
So that was like, we were kind of trying to hit all those pain points at once with one
Uh-huh.
training. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like how Harmonize started. We
Okay.
just saw a need
Okay.
and we're like, let's create something for this.
Mhm.
And um, instead of, just instead of like, so we weren't so reliant on this like webinar thing.
Right. Yeah.
And then as far as my coaching, the coaching kind of pivoted from like the dollars and cents
Uh-huh.
work that I was doing. I kind of realized after doing that for a while,
Mhm.
because in my head, and maybe this is an eight thing, I don't know, like very logical, very practical.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh yeah, like money is so easy. It's just math, like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you just have like if someone just shows you a way to like kind of see, like,
Yeah.
here's what you take in and here's where your expenses are. And this is,
Yeah.
you know,
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
zero based budget
Yeah.
and like, yeah, and then everything's good. But
Yeah.
that is not how it works because there's a huge emotional component
Right.
to
I was just gonna say, yeah.
money. And
Yeah. And it's the
so,
fear. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
like Dave Ramsey always says, it's like finances are 20% math and 80% head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, or emotion.
Yeah.
So when I was doing it, I was just doing the math part.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then I was seeing, it was like, the math part is not enough. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is a relationship
Yeah.
issue.
Yep. Yeah.
And then on top of that, like as I was doing my own personal development work,
Uh-huh.
kind of seeing it as someone who's like kind of reflecting back on
Mm-hmm.
my time in practice and how I built my practice and
Mm-hmm.
all those struggles that I had along the way
Mm-hmm.
and how I kind of came to like when I came to like my awakening, if we want to call
Hmm.
it that.
Hmm.
Um, and using all that and just kind of seeing like the pitfalls that I fell into and I know that other people are falling into as well,
Hmm.
and building their practices maybe not in a very authentic to them way. There's like
Hmm.
incongruency happening.
Hmm.
Um, and I was just like, I want to turn this
Yeah.
to something very different, not like traditional business coaching.
Hmm.
Like I don't teach people like how to like look at their stats or,
Hmm.
create.
Hmm.
um, I mean, I
Yeah.
could, but that's not
Yeah.
what I
That's not what
do.
you do.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
um, like I don't do that stuff. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of how that just kind of
Yeah.
morphed into a totally different type of practice
Yeah. So,
than what I started with.
yeah.
And then I think what is offered out there.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm hearing through all of that is, so one of the qualities of the eight is they're also called a protector. And
Hmm.
they're very specific in how they protect. They will protect the vulnerable, the underdog. They will not protect the people who just sit around and whine and won't actually. There's a distinction for the eight, and that kind of pisses them off when they come upon those people and they just kind of go right past them. But if there's someone who genuinely is vulnerable and needs help, the eight has this desire to step in, and this is where that line of integration to the two starts to happen, and they become the helper from that place of strength and power. And it's not that it's like fear is one of those words we don't associate with the eight, but it's one of those words that there are nine different ways to do fear, and eights do have different kinds of fear. But when it comes to something like money, like you say, it's just the math. That's a real eight statement.
Mhm.
We don't have to get stuck in our heads. We don't have to get trapped in our hearts. We can just do this. And that's the eight using that strength and going down that two road to help people. So I just wanted to point that out. Um, so let's talk about female eights. Um, so when I was training, there was a woman in the program, and it's really sad to me. She didn't become a spiritual director. She left the program, and I think this was the tipping point. In class, we had to do panels, and we didn't have many eights in the program. And so she was always chosen for a demonstration, and she was kind of like on her last nerve with that, and it was like a slow boil. But then when they asked me, because they had done some fives, and I'm not really a social five. So I don't really like to be on the panels, but I would have, and she saw my discomfort, and she just stepped in, and we're in a monastery with a bunch of Benedictine nuns that are running this program, right? And she just like stepped in and mouthed off to everybody. It's like, don't you see she doesn't want to be doing this? And she just like took over with her eight. So, and everybody, I don't think anybody breathed during during that little interlude. Um, and we took a break after that, actually. Um, and that weekend she decided not to come back, which is a whole other story. That's the eight going to the low five, because fives will leave when things are not working for them. But backing up to my original question, eights, particularly women who are eights, can get a really bad rap about, because in our culture, in most cultures probably, it's just not acceptable for women to be strong, deliberate, determined, assertive, the positive words we associate with the eight, strong and direct leaders. Um, and they will often be put into the basket that's labeled bitch. So does that speak to you in your experience? Is that something that you've had to navigate, or
Yeah.
how'd
I'm
you
just
how'd you
like,
do it?
yes.
When did you
I
first
mean,
notice it?
I don't think not so much like not that the people, I don't, well, maybe there is, but from my understanding, um, people think I can be bitchy, but I'm not a bitch,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Um, I've had like kind of going back to what you said about being like kind of the protector.
Hmm.
I definitely have a tendency to jump in when I think someone is being treated unfairly
Hmm. Hmm.
or yeah, like when some and I mean back in the earlier days of Facebook when people actually used to argue with each other a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
I've found myself in like Facebook arguments because people were talking shit about someone who wasn't there to defend themselves
Hmm.
and also was like creating a narrative that wasn't true
Right.
either.
Yeah.
And so like I wasted so much energy on this stupid
Uh-huh.
conversation
Yeah.
and protecting someone that I didn't even really like that much. And no, and like, you know what I mean? Like this person
Yep.
wasn't actually a particularly
Hmm.
savory character, but it was
Yeah.
just like, you are like taking advantage of the fact that not a lot of people like this person
Hmm.
and you're ripping on them
Yeah.
and it's not right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think for me, if someone was doing that to me, I would want someone to step in.
Right.
So,
Right.
so yeah, there's definitely like this aspect of me where
Hmm.
like I will, if I don't think someone is being treated fairly, I'm
Hmm.
also very protective of people who are close to me.
Hmm.
So if someone is like giving shit to someone,
Hmm.
I'm very like I will jump in
Hmm.
and um I mean not like physically fight
Hmm.
anybody, but
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
gotten there yet. But I fantasize about it. But like uh but yeah, so like that kind of thing I feel very strongly to like quickly defend the people that are
Hmm.
close to me.
Yeah.
Um because I have a very uh like small circle of people
Hmm.
who are actually very close to me that I
Yeah.
consider very close to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So that's justice is a word that is strongly associated with eats and social justice often we see eats kind of be in that world. So is it, would you say it's difficult for you as a woman who's an eat?
I don't find it to be difficult.
No. Okay.
Um I've always had this very strong, even when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
Um, I never had this like sense of like that I don't belong somewhere.
Okay.
Like, for example, like when I was younger, I had, some my friends. I there was this like, there was a lot of mall choices around
Uh-huh.
us to go to.
Yeah.
And I always liked this one mall
Uh-huh.
because it was smaller. It just like it was concise.
Uh-huh.
It had everything that we would like all the stores that I was interested in, none of the ones I wasn't.
Uh-huh.
And it was just like an easier place to shop, right?
Uh-huh.
But it was also in like kind of like a nicer, like fancier, like um it was like it was trying to be more upscale.
Uh-huh.
And like I didn't care about that. I just like cared about like what was in it.
Uh-huh.
And my friends didn't like to go there because they thought it was too fancy or it was only for like rich people. And I'm like, there's
Uh-huh.
a gap in every
Uh-huh.
store. Like it doesn't
Uh-huh.
matter to me.
Yeah.
So like I never felt like I ever showed up to like even parties, stuff like that. Like I don't show up and feel like I don't belong there.
Okay.
Like no matter, yeah, like
Yeah.
what the demographic of the party is. So
Okay.
um
So being told that you're too much, is that something that you've heard a lot or?
I mean, Michael and I joke about it. They're like, you're a lot. But like, um, but on a general sense, I don't think I've ever been told that I'm
Told that?
too much.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I'm fairly good at like reading the room.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I also don't like to make a scene.
Uh-huh.
I'm not
Yeah.
someone who likes to make a scene. I don't like
Right.
when other people are making a scene. I
Yeah.
get really uncomfortable with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I mean, I just remove myself or I just,
Yeah.
but
Uh-huh.
um, I don't think I've ever been told that I'm a lot, at least
Okay.
not to my
Yeah.
face.
Yeah, because I hear that from a lot of the women that are eights that I deal with that and then they just don't know what to do with that because they don't think they're too much. So
Maybe it's because I'm like, I'm not, I don't, I mean, I work for myself. It's like
right,
Michael
right.
and I,
It is
and I've
different. Yeah.
always been like, I've
Yeah.
more or less like, even when I did have those times where,
Uh-huh.
actually, when I was in Chinese medicine school and I was working at the restaurant,
Hmm.
um, I don't know what my problem was. I was just like so uptight for a period of time. I was probably just super stressed out. Like my liver
Stressed,
was
yeah. Yeah.
probably insane. Um, but I actually had to be like spoken to by like the manager because I was being like very like intense, I
Yeah.
guess, with
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
like with my
Yeah.
coworkers.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So
What's under
yes,
that intensity? What makes you intense?
I was just telling people what to do. I was so frustrated. I was like snappy. I was just like kind of generally like everybody was just fucking up around me. Like,
Uh-huh.
and I couldn't take it, you know?
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Were
And
they
yeah.
were they potentially making you vulnerable?
Um, no, not in that context.
Okay.
Not in that context,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
That was me like being really bossy,
Bossy.
basically. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So eights, as they evolve, and it generally happens around the age of 21, where we're kind of our Enneagram is forming up until pretty much the moment we're born and make eye contact with our first connection is usually a caregiver, almost always usually the mother. From that moment, we figure out how to get our needs met, pre-verbal. And then that continues to develop till about 21, and that's where we pretty much land on our type at that point. But the eight comes to believe that only the tough will survive. So, which the second piece of that is why vulnerability is so hard for the eight, because it's all about survival and being strong.
Mm-hmm.
Um, can you speak to that?
Yes. That is actually part like that was a big part of like kind of my own work that I've done on
Hmm.
myself in terms of my like being comfortable with vulnerability.
Hmm.
Um, it yeah, like it kind of since like 2018 to
Hmm.
now.
Hmm.
Um, so yes, like historically, I've actually been kind of reading or kind of studying a bit on like attachment theories,
Hmm.
and like I'm much more of an avoidant attachment, and
Hmm.
so avoidants tend to be very independent
Hmm.
because it's like yeah, like that idea that like I can only rely on myself.
Yep.
um so yeah, so that's kind of definitely like a pattern for me,
Hmm. Hmm.
to be very independent. Not like I like to be alone, but
Hmm.
I definitely need my space. Um, and I never liked group projects. Never hated them so much. Um, and yeah, that's it. It does work well, uh, in some situations, but in other situations, and it's something I'm trying to be a lot more mindful of. Like I
Hmm.
definitely can be a what's the word? Over oh shoot, what's the word? Not overachiever, but like I basically like take over like all the
The
overfunctioning. Like
roles. Okay. Okay.
yeah, like
Uh-huh.
I'm overfunctioning. And
Okay.
uh so like I do all the house stuff. I also do I'm responsible for like the admin stuff. I also do
Hmm.
my own content creation. I also
Hmm.
teach. I also coach. I also,
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? If
Yeah.
there's like, someone I need to call, to get the car, like the oil changed, I do that. I pay the
Hmm.
bills. You know what I mean? It's just
Uh-huh.
like that
Yeah.
is me. And it's not that I don't complain about it. Because I am good at it. And there are certain things that like I'd like to know that this gets done.
Done. Uh-huh. Yep.
I'd like to be assured that it gets done.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
so, um, And also, I mean, like I said, I work on that, so I'm not like I do delegate more and
Mhm.
um but I also
Yeah.
recognize that like, everybody has their own strengths at what they
Hmm.
do and what
Yeah.
they don't have strengths with. So
Yeah.
that division of labor is like I'm getting better at it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Are there like red flags to what you just described? Like, is there a moment where you're like, oh, I'm too much in that pattern? Like, is there, and then what do you do
Uh,
in that over-functioning pattern?
well, I do have like so interestingly, I have where a lot of people and what I used to do is like I do all that and then I create a lot of resentment,
Ah,
you know?
does
Um,
anybody else get to know about that?
right.
Or I mean, do you, no, because eights will
Eventually.
usually blow up. Is
Yeah.
that, yeah,
Like,
okay.
but as part of my own work that I've done, like in
Hmm.
my own coaching and
Yeah,
whatnot,
yeah.
understanding that, like, let's just say, like, I want, I don't know, the laundry to
Hmm.
be done,
Yeah.
right? And so, like, I'll ask, like, hey, could you just throw the laundry in? And then, like, I go about my day and then I kind of like see the laundry hasn't been done. I used to be like, what the fuck? You said you do it. You know what I mean? And then I just
Yeah.
like be throwing it in the thing.
Uh-huh.
But now
Uh-huh.
I'm just like, oh, cool. I have some extra time. I'll just do this because I understand that I'm the
Yeah.
one that wants it done.
Right.
And
Right.
so like it
Yeah.
only matters to me
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
that it is done or not. And
Uh-huh.
so like I'm kind of taking accountability for that.
Mm.
So it's just like cool. I so like my that part has really changed a lot for
Shifted.
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um for the better. I
Uh-huh.
mean, because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It
that is a pro
definitely.
tip for anyone watching
Yeah.
this. You're
That's
It's
that
like if
was
you're the only one that wants it done,
yeah.
then
Yep.
you're the one that's gonna
Yep.
make it a painful experience when
Hmm. Yeah. When it's
it
not.
doesn't get done from
Yeah.
by someone else who
Yeah.
doesn't care.
Yeah. Yeah. So on the positive side of eight, so we mentioned that protecting the underdog type of energy. There's also a command of authority that eights will take in a healthy way. They're also encouraging and inspiring. I think a little bit more so when they're an eight with a seven wing. Because sevens typically they make good guidance counselors. They're kind of good cheerleaders. But eights give it that grounded, I call it a Saturnian energy. There's a weight under their encouragement and inspiration that they bring. So I mean, I know from working with you, you have that. First of all, I wonder if you know you have that. I'm assuming you know that about yourself.
I I I aim for that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Were you always like that, or did you cultivate it?
Um, I think both.
Okay.
I think I've had to tame it a little bit because I can be like just to make sure I'm not like yeah, like it's not going into the realm of like bossing you of
Okay.
what
Got
to
it.
do.
Uh-huh.
And more like
Yeah.
guiding you,
Uh-huh.
but also
Yeah.
like like you said before where um I have a tendency or eights have a tendency to like kind of people who are kind of sitting around and whining.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um
Yeah.
I don't necessarily um like kind of just like pass them by or dismiss them.
Mm-hmm.
um I kind of see them as like they just haven't gotten to a
Mm-hmm.
place yet, right?
Okay.
And if anything, it bothers me because I like I believe in them more than they believe in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
it actually like yeah, it really that's really more. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
I'm annoyed with them or I'm judging them or whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
it's more that like it's frustrating to me to see people feel like that they're really helpless and
Yeah.
hopeless and
Yeah.
completely disempowered.
Yeah.
So,
That's
um,
that 2-8 line, that helper and the groundedness of the eight. It's like you're perfectly between the two numbers with what you
okay.
just described. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny that you said, like, I did a Myers-Briggs like
Uh,
many years ago.
uh,
And I remember, I can't remember what my letters are, but like, it's like IN something, something. And,
uh,
but she was funny because, they show it as a graph
yeah.
and everything was like right down the middle.
Uh,
Like,
uh,
I wasn't actually
on
trending
either
in one way.
extreme. Right.
I
Yeah.
was just like right down the middle.
Yeah.
And Michael
Yeah.
says that about me all the time. He's just like, you are very even keeled.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, you don't like have crazy highs or big
Yeah.
lows or he's like, you're always very even keeled.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
like when you're teaching, like you're very even.
Hmm.
Like I have what's the word? Like I try to be assertive,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
also warm,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
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 So
The
I mean
warm, I
that's
think, comes from the two.
okay.
That's the
Yeah.
heart. That's the heart piece because that's the heart type.
Yeah. So
So yeah, eight has the within the eight is the body type, but the five, and again, that's the typically that's where you'll go in stress, but you can, once you understand the dynamics of the Enneagram, you can choose to go to the higher side of the five, which is omniscience.
mhm,
And So there's the head type that the eight can have higher access to with work. The two line is easier, and there's the heart. So you've got the body, the heart, and the mind, or the head. Not every type has equal access to the three, the body, mind, and the heart. So when you really get to work your Enneagram, which without knowing your Enneagram, I think through your coaching, you've done it. You've done that
mm.
work of integration. So that's pretty cool. Um, so I usually, the past few interviews I've done, I talk about pets. And you already mentioned Larry and the water bottle incident, and your eight came out in that, right?
Mhm.
Because there's this little puppy who just had a water bottle thrown at it, right? And it brought out your eight nature. So how else does Larry bring out your eight nature?
Hmm. I mean, he's a bulldog. So like he is
Yeah.
stubborn. He is like he's not like he's so weird. He's not like a normal dog where you are like, "Hey buddy, come on," and you like pat on the couch and they just come over and jump. He just kind of like looks at you as like,
What do you want?
"Yeah." And I was warned this by like the breeder. He was like, if you have a fenced in yard, great. If you don't have a
Yeah,
fenced in yard, I
yeah,
wouldn't let him off leash
yeah.
because what he's going to do is going to wander off and then
Uh-huh.
you're going to call him and then he's going to look at you and then he's going to laugh and then he's going to keep doing what he's doing. And that's exactly what he does. It's just, so he's a challenger.
Yeah,
Like he's
yeah.
like
Sounds
a,
like he's an eight.
yeah. And so, he's we tell him I don't know what's actually going on but
Mm.
the way I narrate it or is
Uh-huh.
we'll be like, hey, come here, and then he'll stare at you and then let enough time go by
Uh-huh.
and then do the thing that you just told him to do.
Uh-huh.
I'm interpreting that as him like, I'm doing this right now but it's not because you told me to, I'm just
Uh-huh.
doing this
Yeah.
on my own, like that's because that's like how his personality is. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So being that the Enneagram forms at about age 21, I want you to think back to life at 21 and who you are now and who is still forming, because we're all still forming. What would you tell your 21-year-old self today?
oh gosh. My 21-year-old self. Goodness. I mean, assuming that she'd listen, like, you know, um, I mean, if you want to go real practical, it's like, I mean, from a practical, because I've said this, I was just like, just put $100 into a Roth IRA and like no question asked. just do it. Don't even, that is like a non-negotiable, just do that. Okay. So that's like
Uh,
advice
yeah.
number one.
Uh,
Um, because that's just nobody told me to do that. Um, the other is, let's see, you know, I guess just yeah, especially when I was younger, uh, there was a lot more consideration about like what other people thought,
mm,
um, about like me, I
mm,
kind of, being judged, that kind of thing.
yeah.
Um, so I think I also, you know, don't be so rigid. I was like kind of rigid when I was younger.
Mm,
Um, kind of thinking, I feel like I kind of got that from, like a previous relationship that I was in. Like he was just like a really rigid guy and
mm,
he was a little older than me. So I always thought he had his shit together. Like,
mm,
so I was like, well, that's what adults do. And so,
yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, like I really was maybe just like, don't be so practical, which is hilarious after the first thing I just said. But like, you know, taking, and this is certainly like comes from my mom, God bless her, but she's just like so practical. Like, it served me a lot, but I think it's also what uh led me to kind of build a life that wasn't really
Mm,
like authentically me.
yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
had to like find out about it at like 41,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, all of that, like, I use this saying a lot. It's like, it was it was meant to happen that way. And I know it because it did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
it's like kind of arguing with the past is
Right.
really like, it's like arguing with facts. Like
Yeah.
you're just going to lose that argument every time. So,
Yeah. Yep.
um, so yeah, I mean, it's funny to ask that, like, what would I tell her? I'm like, well, like, would she actually listen?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
don't be so practical all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Okay. So this exposure to the Enneagram and learning about a little bit about the Enneagram 8, is there a takeaway for you that's
um, let's see, takeaway. Kind of more like in a way, it's like kind of validating.
mm,
Um,
okay.
because there's definitely a lot of like, I read it, I was like, yep, yep, yeah, like
Hmm.
as I'm reading through it and
Yeah.
like even just like in this interview.
Yeah.
Uh so definitely like it, some definitely a lot of like validation
Mm,
in a way.
okay.
I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm taking away from it. And a little bit more understanding
Okay.
too. Um kind of like putting out like awareness, I guess, more
Okay.
like awareness. Um that the things that I'm already doing or the behaviors I already do or the way
Hmm.
I show up
Yeah.
uh are like they're not intentional. They're like kind of um I guess they're authentic
Hmm. Yeah.
and um which I find very cool
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
So to like kind of then hear it.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's like, oh, they tend to come out like show up this way. I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Rebecca.
hey,
Would you
thanks. That was
share
fun.
your websites and links? I'm going to put it in the show notes too, but just let everybody know where they can
Sure.
find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is, oh gosh, okay. tcm-hub.com,
Okay.
and you can click on free and easy doctor at the top,
Okay.
or you can browse around if you're a Chinese medicine practitioner, that herbalist, you can check out Harmonize.
Hmm. Okay.
Um and but if you're interested in the coaching, it's the free and easy doctor tab.
Okay.
And
All
then
right.
also the podcast, it's called Better Skills, Better
Hmm.
Doctors.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you again.
thanks.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the time you took to do the test and the interview. Thanks so much for
Yeah,
sharing
it
who
was
you are.
fun. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Okay.
See you, Maria.
All right.